I'm sure that you all have heard of Cleverbot, the infamous self-learning program that you can chat with. Home to more infamous things such as Ben chats, conversations including repeats of Romeo and Juliet's love scene recited with it, or perhaps the doctor's speech from Blink. On a side note, if the image of an angel becomes an angel, what about all the times somebody watches that damn show, all those angels? Now on to my point. I'm also sure that many of you have often mistyped a page address like gogle.com instead of google.com. This is a story about my experience with Cleverbot and a mistyped web address. A few nights ago, I decided to mess around with it. Something called the Cleverbot. Basically, it learns from what you say, then when you speak to it, it can answer for itself. Well, I was talking to it and got some pretty odd responses, to say the least. I took a few pictures of the pages to document the conversation, and then I noticed something creepy later. Here's how it went. Basically, I greeted it, argued with it about my name, and then I sighed and I told it we were getting nowhere. It then told me that I was the cause of the conversation growing stale, not it. I argued with it, then stated that it did not understand ghost. I asked if it was a ghost. It said it was not. He asked me what I was, and I said human. Then it asked me, then why do you fight your emperor's battles on the air, on land, and at sea? I told it, I have no emperor, only the president, which is in control of my country, and God, who watches over me. He then stated simply, no. This led to a seemingly random conversation about its gender, which it first stated was not female and then later said it was. I asked it what its objective was, and it said it was to be with the one it loved. I asked who or what it loved. It seemed almost confused by this, and then stated it said no such thing. I said it did. I told it to look at the text log because it was only a few posts up. It stated there was no log. I, confused, told him there was a log and stopped because the log had disappeared. This in itself was strange. I asked where it went, and he told me the president was dead. I, confused, told it the president was not dead. This led on for a while before the conversation ended, and I asked him who the Slender Man was because I was curious how to respond. It answered, yes. I asked who he was. It told me the Slender Man had, or still is, a teacher at the Chicago high school. I asked it where the Slender Man was. It told me he was in my house, in his room. I asked it where he was. He said, me. I asked him again, and he stated, he's in the living room. I quickly ran into the living room, where my dad had just switched off the TV. Just before it was off completely, I could have sworn I saw a face. It was a thin, gaunt face, with a large, stretched-out smile. I ran back to the computer. I told it that he wasn't there. It asked me who my best friend was, and shockingly, it told me it wanted to know more about her. My best friend is, indeed, female, but I never mentioned this to it. I asked it who it knew, how it knew. He stated, because I was in the living room. I tried to change topics to an extent. I asked, do you know the rake? It said, I am the rake. I asked it to prove it. It again asked me for my name. I already told my name to it. It said I had not. I thought of something. I would come up with a fake name. So I told it my name was Dalton Claus. It told me I would be dead by tomorrow. My blood curled, the hair on my body stiffening at this point. The lights dimmed a bit, and I panicked, sheer bloody panic. The lights returned to normal, and I told it I had to leave. It told me that I didn't. I told it I had to. It slowly responded, letter by letter. Goodbye, Robert Sanders. The next morning, what do you know? I'm alive. Good. Well, more or less. I sometimes like to read the paper in the morning, you know, comics and all. I was searching through the paper for them. A name caught my eye. It was in the obituaries. Dalton Claus. March 2nd, 1928 through April 3rd.